was looking through the peephole of the glass. As I was watching Dr. King, I saw him look over toward the boarding house. And then whenever he looked back, like he was going to look into the parking area, that's when he come up off of the grating, and that's when he was shot. I would say I was the only one that saw him get shot, actually get shot from the front.
Mysterious American a few blocks from where Ray had been living in Montreal. His name was Jules Rico Kimball. Kimball's girlfriend told Salwin that Kimball kept guns and explosives in his car, made frequent phone calls to New Orleans, and was known to her as Rollo. Was Kimball Raoul, or could he be linked with Ray in any way? The New Orleans private investigator Joe Oster, who'd done extensive surveillance on Kimball in 1967 because he was a suspect in the bombing of a left-wing Union leader. Could Kimball have been in Montreal at the same time as Ray? Up to now, nobody's been able to answer this key question. But there is a week in July 1967 when no one can account for Kimball's movements.
We interviewed his in-laws, we interviewed his relations, we interviewed his wife, we had his home under surveillance, and we cannot account for that week and a half of where he was.
So he could have been in Montreal?
He could have been anywhere. He could have been in Montreal.
Where is Kimball now? With the help of Oster's contacts, we finally tracked Kimball down to a federal penitentiary.
My name is Jules Ron Kimball, 45 years old. I'm doing a double life sentence for organized crime, racketeering, and murder for underworld killings. Worked for the government, the CIA, for quite a few years. I worked on different things, from the Ku Klux Klan to Bay of Pigs invasion to assassination of President Kennedy.
Can you tell us the story of how you got connected to Montreal?
I had a contact there, and I would visit up there. At that time, CIA was working, they had, I can't think of the name of it right now, but it was Quebec, the free Canada, which was the French were trying to take over there. And I went up there. I started going up there with them, and I had done a couple jobs up there for them.
Can you give me a clue as to what kind of work you did up there for them?
I had done 2 murders for them there, yes, in Canada.
Were they political things?
Yes, I know political things. It was, I think it was CIA front. See, CIA, they'll back anybody, as long as they can put a man on the inside.
Kimball says he was introduced to an FBI agent in New Orleans and put on the payroll of the FBI to undertake assignments. This agent told him to meet Ray at Atlanta Airport and fly him to Canada.
Yeah, Mr. told me to pick him up. He told me to go to Atlanta to Charlie Brown Airport, and this guy would meet me there. And I went there, and I stayed there, and he asked me, was my name Mr. Kimball? I said, yes. He said, well, I'm your passion. I said, okay, no problem. I'm ready to go. We left. I took him to a place on Mount Royal Street, which is in Montreal itself. And I had a contact there. There was a CIA front in the building. And I got him his fake identification stuff. He would give you a whole makeup, a good one, that would stand any kind of security, that you could travel with it just like if you travel on your own and not even worry about it, It was legitimate.
How do you know that this place was a CIA front?
Well, back when I first went to Canada, I was given that information. I went there and I gave him a code, and he recognized me. I was told what to say when I got there to him. I just went in. It was a business place, and I just went there, and no problem.
How did you know that the man you picked up that day later on was James Earl Ray?
Through another contact I had, that told me that they were going to use him for a job at the time.
So, did you fly him back to America after his visit?
No, I didn't, no. No, not him. I flew somebody else back.
Now, his story is that he met a man called Raoul. It sounds like that part of Raoul was you.
They called me Rico.
So would you say that at least for the Canadian part of Ray's story, you were Raoul?
Yes, yes.
Later in the interview, Kimball claimed that he had assisted Ray after the assassination.
Yeah, I flew him from there to Montreal, yes, and turned him over to people there.
Can you clarify that? What did you do after the assassination?
What did I do with James Earl Ray? I told you I flew him to Canada after the assassination.
So, can I show you a picture of somebody and ask you whether you recognize him, whether you've seen him before? That guy there.
No, I don't believe I do. There was a person that looked similar to him in this Jim's Grill I mentioned a while ago, but that's been 20 years ago, and it would be difficult for me to remember, just what he looked like. I gave a description of the person I saw in this grill, and of course, that's, like I mentioned, that's been 20 years ago, and I don't think they'll ever...
His name is Jules Rico Kimball.
Yes.
Now, he's in prison at the moment. He's specifically alleged that he flew you to Canada and assisted you in gaining your identities from a character in Montreal. Is there any truth in that at all?
No, there's no truth in that whatsoever. I don't know. I've never had any contact with him. I've seen him, but I don't even recall that. And he may be under some type of... Is he in prison now? Well, there's a possibility he's under some type of pressure from the government. And, he may know something about the King case, but he's trying to disinformation and things of that nature.
Every single statement that he gave us turned out to be true without exception. There was no dissembling. There was the only, in retrospect, I can see from going through his whole file here, the only information that is not true is what had been planted in his mind back at that time, towards the end of his service for the CIA here in the city, the covert operations, is where they have planted in his mind the idea that he was really working for the Ku Klux Klan or the white citizens or something like, which is kind of a standard operating procedure for intelligence agencies before they dismiss somebody after they've performed things. But in the final analysis, Kimball himself never lies.
Us more. First of all, what he knows will probably not make him look more innocent than he wants to claim to be innocent. Second of all, I think he was compartmentalized and kept in the dark so that what he knows about the case may only make him look worse and not be able to turn over to law enforcement the identities or position of the conspirators, so it won't help them that much and it won't help him that much. He wants to claim he was framed by Raoul. I think that Raoul does not exist and is a composite in Ray's mind of a series of shadowy figures, a network, if you will, who helped him in this assassination conspiracy. And I believe that some of the characteristics Ray attributes to Raoul are real characteristics of some of these people who associated with Ray and helped him, but there is no one Raoul. He does not want to talk about who the conspirators really might be or how they might have provided him with aliases and couriers.
Kimball's statement to us is the first time that anyone has confessed to being part of the conspiracy to kill King, although he says he did not know that was the purpose. In subsequent communications, he's been more insistent about the CIA's central role in the assassination, and further alleged that he flew in 2 snipers to Memphis the week before the killing. Ray, he says, was not the assassin, but a pawn. We believe that the evidence of Ray as the assassin is weak, and that he had a relatively minor role. A House Assassinations Committee investigator told us that if they could have got evidence of a Kimball-Ray connection, it would have been very significant. Surely now is the time to reopen this case.
I think we should challenge them to do what is right. But I think that good someday is going to triumph over evil. And if there is evil, if it relates to the Justice Department, if it relates to the entire federal government, good will one day prevail. That's what my father taught us. That's what my mother taught us. That's hopefully what we embody as a family.